James Imbrie. By 2100, Quaternary Science Reviews predicts an overall increase of 4 degrees Celsius in the Earth's climate. This will result in a global sea level rise of approximately 1 meter, submerging millions of square miles of land across the world, completely drowning some island nations, and causing extreme and dangerous new global weather patterns. As of this year, the island of Kivalina, Alaska is already being forced to consider relocating its residents as a result of the effects of climate change. The subsequent displacement and migration of millions of people across the globe, especially from coastal population centers, will lead to catastrophic resource wars and famines. These horrors will be felt disproportionately by less wealthy developing countries. On our current track, the fallout of climate change will become the greatest challenge that our generation is going to inherit. Global climate change is the direct result of the industrial world's fatal addiction to fossil fuels, and solutions are constantly obstructed by the immense political power of fossil fuel corporations. So what can we at Juniata do about this? There is a national initiative currently gaining momentum for colleges and institutions to remove their investments from fossil fuel companies, thereby lessening our collective financial dependence on them, as well as stigmatizing the industry. As of this time last year, Juniata College has invested approximately $2 million of its endowment in the top 200 publicly traded fossil fuel companies. I'm a member of the Juniata College divestment campaign, which was started this time last year by a fellow student, Nathan Anderson Stahl. Since then, a petition asking the school administration to divest has circulated, collecting over 300 signatures from the student body. And I'm here to make the case that Juniata College can assert itself as a distinctive and progressive institution by divesting the endowment out of fossil fuels and taking a more active leadership role with regard to climate change policy. So what is divestment? Why should Juniata divest? And why is divestment the right thing to do? Divestment is a global movement with a political goal. The principal directive of the campaign is to stigmatize the fossil fuel industry. By pressuring individuals and institutions to discontinue investment in fossil fuel extraction corporations, the movement sends the message that fossil fuels are not conducive to a healthy future for our planet. Divestiture is by no means easy. We have reached this tipping point after over a century of focusing on short-term capital gains at the expense of long-term environmental stability. The divestment initiative recognizes these externalities and symbolizes the reversal of that short-sighted ideology. To move forward, our society must decrease its dependence on fossil fuels. Rationally, Juniata recognized the forthcoming need to be more environmentally sustainable with its energy consumption. If we can recognize this, yet refuse to take meaningful action and continue to profit from these investments, we are enabling fossil fuel dependence. If Juniata steps up, we will become a catalyst, encouraging other institutions to do the same. According to our mission statement, Juniata strives to empower students as ethical leaders of the global community. And by getting ahead of the divestment trend, we project Juniata's image as a distinctive, forward-thinking liberal arts college that is dedicated to positive social change. A divested Juniata would join a cohort of like-minded, progressive institutions divesting from fossil fuels, such as Stanford and the New School in New York City. Divestment has also been publicly endorsed by world leaders, such as Archbishop Desmond Tutu, United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, and President Barack Obama, who is quoted in saying, "You need to invest in what helps and divest from what hurts." These investments in fossil fuel extraction companies may be stable and beneficial in the short term, but as the effects of climate change become more noticeable, the safety of these investments will vanish, and they will no longer be tenable. However, action on climate change is not an issue of profitability, but of ethics. As part of the industrialized world, we have been the cause of the global climate crisis, but it's the developing world that has the most to lose in the coming decades. Juniata cannot maintain its moral integrity if we continue to condone and profit off of the deterioration of our environment at the expense of those less fortunate. We cannot remain complacent. One of Martin Luther King Jr.'s most provocative statements was that the hottest place in hell is reserved for those who remain neutral in times of great moral conflict. In 1965, a group of Juniata students and faculty, led by the resident poet Galway Canal, joined a march from Selma to Montgomery, Alabama, in protest of voting restrictions on African Americans. That was a radical statement and a dangerous action. Students at Juniata need to rekindle that radical spirit of activism that made us so distinct in the past. If Juniata wants to reestablish itself as an ethical leader among American colleges and universities, we need to take action to reconcile the dissonance between our ideals and our investments. We need to lead by example. American legislators have failed to take the climate crisis seriously. So collectively, as concerned citizens, we must stand up and make ourselves heard. Divestment is the platform that gives students a voice on climate change. The Juniata administration will only divest if the community demands it. Students, faculty, alumni, we have to make our voices heard firmly and swiftly. As the future alumni and donors to Juniata College, we students especially have influence over the future of our school's policies. They will listen to us. If more students stand up for the environment, we can make divestment a reality. This is our chance to start a transformation at Juniata College. Divestiture is the first step in taking Juniata from climate complacency to climate action. Global climate change is going to be the greatest threat humanity faces in the next 100 years. This is not a problem for the next generation to handle. We in this room will see the damage of climate change in our lifetime. So we cannot continue to remain neutral. As students, we have an obligation to ensure that Juniata remains distinctively on the right side of history.